Hi everybody, Craig here. Welcome to the start of a new Age of Wonders 3 playthrough series. In this series, I'm going to be playing against a team of 6 Emperor AI. However, I will have one AI player on my team. Let's go over the general game setup. Now, as I mentioned, all of my opponents are going to be set to Emperor difficulty, which is the highest difficulty setting for the AI players. I'm going to be playing on a large map size, an extra large map size, and my map type is going to be islands. This is actually in response to a suggestion from John Calabro. John had left a comment at the end of one of my my most recent playthrough series, and he had suggested maybe trying out a extra large map size and islands, and that's specifically because of the leader who I'm going to be playing as in this series, which I'll discuss very shortly, and it'll all kind of make sense, hopefully. I'm going to be using normal game flow. And if we take a peek at the advanced settings, I'm going to leave most things here kind of to default, which is just average, although I am going to have my starting town be an outpost. If we look at geography, that's all going to be default as well. Now, we're going to have the surface and the underground accessible in this playthrough. However, we're also going to have another region, which is the Shadow Realm. It's not listed here, but that is going to be available during this series. The Shadow Realm is added by the Shadow Realm expansion mod pack that I have installed. If you're interested in any of the mods that I'm using for this playthrough series or any of my previous playthrough series, please check the video description as I list them there. I should also note, for longtime viewers of the channel, I've added 2 additional mods for this series. Those are the Wasteland expansion mod pack, as well as a compatibility mod to allow the Wasteland mod to interface with the Shadow Realm mod. And actually, the team that's behind the Shadow Realm mod pack is also working on the Wasteland expansion. So I'm quite excited to showcase it and to dive in and play with it myself, because I really haven't actually played any games using it yet. So this is going to be fresh for me and hopefully fresh for a lot of you as well. Again, I think that's all I want to say about that, so we're going to move on. Now, let's actually get to the setup here. So as I mentioned, we are going to have teams, and we're going to have myself and an AI, myself and one AI player against 6 Emperor AI. Now, the caveat, however, is that my AI teammate is not going to be on Emperor difficulty. He will be set to Lord difficulty, which basically means that I'm going to not really be able to rely on him for any help. He's probably going to actually be more of a hindrance to me than anything else. But I think that's going to add some kind of unique situations to this series, and also a bit of challenge, and change things up a bit from some of my previous series, where it's always been myself against either one big team or multiple smaller teams of AI. So again, I'm quite excited to try this out and see if it works. Or I guess see if it provides some interesting scenarios. Let's look at the advanced rules here. So we're going to have normal game speed, standard starting resources. We're going to have few starting skills just to kind of slow things down a touch. Heroes will not have resurgence. I think we're going to keep defender strength set to normal just to kind of have that be a little bit more default. Cosmic happenings will be set to medium. We're going to have our max number of heroes at 4 and our max hero level set to 30. And all of the options along the right side here are going to be enabled. Now, the big question is, do I want to customize the AI opponents that I'm going to be playing against as well as my teammate? And originally I was going to do that, but I think it would actually be more fun. And again, I think I did this, I can't remember exactly, but I think I did this in my previous playthrough series where I actually left it totally random and it was kind of a surprise to me. So I think I'm going to do that this time as well, because I quite enjoyed the suspense of not really knowing who you're up against. So we're going to turn that off, and we are going to launch the game. And I should mention, we're also going to be playing with classic turns. Now, as you may have guessed from the title of this video, I'm going to be playing as a Goblin Rogue. I've talked a lot about this in the last series, that this is kind of what I was planning. Again, this is in response to a number of suggestions from a lot of different individuals, actually, who've kind of been suggesting playing as a rogue and maybe using a Goblin class. And it's also been suggested that I use Keeper of the Peace, Adept, and Master. And I think that's a great suggestion. I've been sort of told, as I don't have a ton of experience with this particular setup, but I've been told that this actually will work quite well with the rogue and also with being a goblin. It's also something, again, that I haven't really featured on the channel, this particular specialization or this race and class combination. So I think this will be hopefully informative kind of for everybody and a lot of fun for me to play. I'm also going to be using Explorer as a specialization here. And again, that will sort of benefit the goblins in that they can kind of move a little bit more rapidly. And there's a few upgrades there that specifically will work well with goblins. Now, again, I should mention that, as I said, I don't have a ton of experience with Keeper of the Peace, but I'm also fairly inexperienced when it comes to playing as a rogue and also playing as goblins. So this is going to be, not only is this going to be a fairly difficult playthrough for me in terms of the other setup, but I'm also playing as a class, race, and specialization combination that I really am not experienced with. So this is going to be quite the challenge, and I'm definitely kind of excited for it. And I think it's going to provide a good learning opportunity for me and hopefully for some of you out there as well. Now, we'll just go over this very briefly. So just to kind of summarize goblins here, individually, they're kind of small and fragile, as the description says here. You can see that they actually have less health. So again, they're going to be a little bit more physically frail. However, they do have inherent blight protection, which can be beneficial in certain situations. They're a little bit cheaper, so the unit cost is lower, which is good. And they also grow very rapidly. So they have a massive boost to their population growth, which is very helpful as their cities can then expand quite quickly. And obviously, they're kind of built to be underground because they have cave crawling, night vision, and they also really like wetlands. So things to keep in mind there. Now, as for the rogue class, again, stealthy and fast units. There's a focus on blight damage, so that is going to kind of go well with the goblins who do some blight damage themselves. Although I have to be careful that I don't become over-reliant on blight damage, because if I'm up against units that have blight resistance, that could be a bit of a challenge. Powerful spells to attack enemy economies, so lots of sabotage type impacts where we can, hamstring a city or something like that. And then we get bonuses to irregular units, so kind of non-conventional approaches here with the rogue, I think, is kind of their MO. And again, that kind of summarizes that setup. One thing to note here is that because the rogue does not get access to a tier 4 unit as a class unit, so most classes get a tier 4 unit. Like, for example, a warlord would get access to the Manticore Rider as their kind of final unit. The rogue's final unit is the Shadow Stalker, who is actually a tier 3 unit, although still a very powerful tier 3 unit. One of the benefits of having Keeper of the Peace Master is that I will actually get access to a tier 4 unit in the form of I think it's an Angel. And so that will be really, really nice, as that will provide me with kind of another avenue to get very powerful units that I can produce myself without having to try to acquire them in some other way. But I think that's enough yammering from me. So we're going to be playing as Gnulsa Nightstar, the Goblin Rogue. So let's get to it. Now, while the game is setting up here, I want to just kind of briefly outline what my plan of attack is going to be. Obviously, I'm going to be, since I'm playing as Keeper of the Peace, I'm going to be playing a good alignment, and I'm going to be trying my best to make as many connections with my neighboring sort of neutral cities as possible, so I can start gaining them as vassals and then promoting them into full-fledged cities that I own. And of course, I want to try and expand very rapidly, so I think the Explorer is going to help with that, and there's a few other things that are going to allow me to hopefully do that very quickly. And the other thing I'm going to make sure I try to do, and this is going to be sort of I guess you could maybe think of it as like a self-imposed handicap, which is that I'm going to make sure that I need to keep my teammate alive. That's super important to me, that my teammate is kept alive. And that's actually, I think, going to be very difficult for me because they are at a lower difficulty setting than all of the opponents, so they're going to be at a massive disadvantage. My AI teammate is going to be at a big disadvantage when coming up against all of my opponents, and so I think that will kind of add another layer of difficulty. Something else that's come up in some of my previous series has been the issue of AI opponents surrendering. Now, I think what I'm going to do in this situation, I've done a playthrough series where I refuse to accept surrender, and I've also done series where I accepted surrender right from the get-go. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit choosy with when I accept surrender. So in some instances, I might accept it right away. In others, I won't accept it. And the criteria I'm going to use for that is going to be, are they really defeated? Because I've had situations in the past where I've really only won like one or two little battles against some of their good units, and then they've surrendered right away. And it's kind of like, well, I didn't even get to siege their cities. I didn't get to do any big battles, and yet they're already surrendering. So I think in a situation like that, I wouldn't surrender. But if I've kind of beaten them down, I've got them on the ropes, it's not looking good for them, and I just don't want to have to go and individually hunt down their leader and their throne city, then I might accept it. So I'm going to leave it up to being a little bit more conditional in this series. Whereas previously, aside from the one series where I didn't accept any surrender, I would accept most of them kind of right off the bat. So in this one, I'm going to be a little bit more choosy with that. And then the other things I want to briefly mention. So again, the Wasteland expansion does add a new race, which is the Nomads, which I believe is a throwback to Age of Wonders Shadow Magic. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because I actually haven't played Age of Wonders Shadow Magic. The other Age of Wonders titles that I'm familiar with are Age of Wonders 2, which was actually my first Age of Wonders experience I must have been about 10 years old, I think, when I played it for the first time. And of course, at that age, I found it extremely difficult. But I fell in love with the series, and I've enjoyed it ever since. But I haven't actually played the original Age of Wonders, and I haven't played Age of Wonders Shadow Magic. So, again, those are the two I don't have experience with. But back to the Wasteland expansion, my understanding is that the Nomads are kind of similar to how they were in Shadow Magic. So I'm quite excited to maybe get to see them in action a little bit. Okay, Gnulsa Nightstar, Goblin Rogue, your rise to power begins. All right, so here we are. Now, we did not spawn underground. It looks like we are on the surface. We've had a hero offer to join us here, so let's take a peek. Ramona the Saboteur, a level 1 Dreadnought, wants to join your forces. Let's take a look at Ramona's talents here. All right, so Ramona is a fairly standard Dreadnought. I'm not really seeing anything that's jumping out at me. Does already have Sabotage. There's a part of me that wants to maybe try for a different kind of hero. It's not that I don't like Dreadnoughts, but they're just not really my favorite. Especially since I'm playing a rogue, I think I'd almost rather get like a Warlord or maybe a Theocrat or something like that. You know, it's always a bit of a gamble because you never know what you're going to get. But I think I'm going to say I require another type of hero. I typically don't do this, but I'm going to do it this time. Again, you know, maybe this will backfire, but we'll see. Now let's take a look at what we've got for sort of our starting area here. Ooh, we got lucky and we have a Goblin Big Beetle, thank goodness. So that's fantastic. We started off with a Big Beetle, and we also have a Blight Doctor, which is fantastic. And then here we have a Skewer, Half-Breed, and a Marauder, and then of course we have our Wargrider. So pretty decent set of starting units here. So again, protect your leader and throne city, allied victory, and then defeat all rival empires are our game conditions here. Let's take a look at our... Okay, so our teammate is a human sorcerer. Let's go into the diplomacy menu and just take a quick peek. Okay, so it's Larissa Mirabilis. So Larissa is a Master of Water and an Adept of Air. Interesting. Okay, so that is my teammate for this game. And it looks like she is situated kind of to the north of me there. You can see her little starting area. So she started off with... Well, she got 2 priests and then a bunch of tier 1 units. So maybe not quite as favorable a start as I had. But again, so Larissa is set to AI Lord difficulty, whereas my opponents are all set to Emperor. So that's going to be the challenge. Let's take a look at our starting spells here. Nice. Okay, we do have Summon Grimbeak Crows. That's something we started with. I'm probably going to use this fairly soon here to try to gain some additional units. These would be great to do some scouting with. Panic Attack. Attempts to panic target enemy unit. If it fails, the unit is shaken instead. Okay, so that basically if it's successful, they'll flee from battle. And then, so we have our upgrades as a result of being Keeper of the Peace. So we have an additional plus 75 relation with independent cities, and all delay between diplomatic actions with independent cities is reduced by 1. So that's going to be fantastic when we're trying to recruit cities as vassals. Okay, enough of my yammering though. Let's start casting Summon Grimbeak Crows, and let's also proceed to some battles here. So, you know, it wouldn't be so bad to maybe do a little bit of scouting. Let's see now, this half-breed, I'm just going to see. So we do have tunneling with the half-breed. Might be worth hanging on to in case we find a way underground. Just trying to decide who I want to send off to do that. Thinking maybe the Marauder would be the one I'm going to use to scout. It is nice to have a unit with a shield, but we do have the Skewer as well. I think I'd rather keep the polearm unit. So what we'll do is we'll send our Marauder off to do a little bit of scouting. We can also go grab that gold up north. So again, what I'd like to do is just kind of get an idea of what is in our immediate vicinity. So we've got these haste berries. We've got some extra population there. That's a refugee camp. Stash of gold. So we'll grab the gold, because why not? And then, yeah, I think we'll head up there and we'll try and grab that. Okay, so that kind of tells us what's that way. I think we could maybe use our warg actually over in this direction to do a bit of scouting as well. So we'll just... Oh, and there we go. Okay, that's what I was hoping for. Our cartographer's tent. So that's going to provide us vision on a nearby city. Ooh, and it's across the water, which is a little bit unfortunate. Looks like it's a draconian. So that's a draconian area. Wouldn't be bad to get some draconians on my side and have some fire damage at my disposal, if need be. And we will just keep heading down this way, doing a little bit more scouting. Okay, so we're going to send our main stack here, and I realize I've actually got them now with only 5 units, but that's okay. We will send them over this way. What we're going to do is we're going to engage this battle with some fell horses. Now, this would actually be an opportunity to start gaining some good alignment here. I do want the experience, but on the other hand, you know, starting to be good would be useful for me, so I think we'll do that. When we got ourselves a tiger and some gold, so I will take that. Now the question is, where do I go next? Maybe we use the tiger as a scout here. Let's go maybe grab those mana crystals. Just get an idea of kind of what we can see over here. I was really hoping there'd be a city kind of over in this sort of wetland, blighted area. There's nothing obvious, however, which is a little bit frustrating. But we want to do some battling, so we'd probably want to go over there, I'm thinking, would be good. So let's do that. Looks like we're going to be up against some orcs, so we'll have to be careful. So obviously orcs are tough customers. Oh, here we go. Another opportunity for some more good points. Let's do that. Again, we will have to be careful because we are missing out on experience each time we do that. We do need to start leveling our units up, that's for sure. Okay, so that's going to more or less do it for our main stack this turn. In terms of what to build, I think I'll probably start with a builder's hall. It would be great to get that going, increase our production capability, so we're going to do that. Now, as for what to research here, let's see. So, we've got some different options here. We've got... Now, Seafaring is going to be important since this is an island setup, so we might need that fairly soon. But let's see what else we have here. We have Scout Training. All irregular units receive +1 vision range. We could start working on Scoundrel and kind of getting down the unit production pipeline here of the Rogue. Cortesian Ambassadors receive a permanent relation bonus with independent cities, which makes them more friendly. Now, this synergizes super well with Keeper of the Peace, so I think I'm actually going to do that. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to work on that because, again, we want to get these cities being our friends more quickly. So I can see now why that synergizes just perfectly, being a rogue and being a Keeper of the Peace. Okay, that's going to do it for our first turn, so we will end it there. Now Larissa is moving. Larissa looks like she's won a battle. We'll take a look up here. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to be careful because one of the negatives of having an AI teammate is that it's probably not going to happen because I'm going to have better relation with these cities, but my teammate could potentially steal some of these cities through diplomacy and making them vassals and whatnot. So I'll have to be careful because this may actually, again, as I had sort of said earlier, this may prove to be more of a hindrance than it is an asset to me. Not to mention I have to babysit my teammate and make sure that they aren't killed off, because that's sort of a self-imposed restriction, as I said. It would be great to clear out that mana node eventually, get access to a little bit more mana income. I suspect we're going to be casting a decent amount of spells here, especially summoning some crows to kind of do some extra scouting and whatnot. Again, it would be great to get my eyes on another city here fairly soon. Actually, if I can get the crows, that would be fantastic, as they can go across the water here, which would be great. Okay, we've had another hero offer to join, a Sorcerer Hero. Beneath's Troll Skin. And let's see your talents here. Ooh, this hero has regrowth, which is actually it's quite useful, I think. Shock Bolts, of course, since we are Sorcerer. Fire weakness here, Blight Protection. So this hero is a little bit weak to fire, which is we have to keep in mind. But I think this is going to be a good choice for me. So I think I will accept this. So there we go. We've got ourselves a new hero who does have regrowth, which I think, like I said, is going to help me out in battle. So I may even build this hero to be a bit of a tank, which normally I wouldn't do, especially not with a Sorcerer Hero. But I may do that just to kind of help me out with some of these early game battles. Okay, so there we did a little bit. We gained some extra population for our city, and it's now going to grow quite a bit faster. So I think this was previously like 7 turns, and now we're down to 2 turns. So that's excellent. Let's move a little bit further this way. Okay, we just want to see if there is anything that we can get our eyes on, like another city or something like that. Would be fantastic. We're going to move our Wargrider here down this way. Okay, so we got production resources. We want to prioritize getting over there. Adding something to our city, that would be a good thing. Actually, this potentially wouldn't be a bad spot even to build a city eventually. Got a gold mine, another gold mine. We've got ourselves a quarry there, and a Castle of the Lich King, which obviously we aren't able to deal with right now, but perhaps later in the game we could clear that out. Okay. So again, we're just kind of checking out what we can see. Now, as for the tiger here, well, our main stack we're going to send down this way. And I think we'll actually send our hero over as well to join in for this battle. Okay, so we're just up against a few goblin units here. Okay, now I have to watch out as this hero was debuffed with Noxious Vulnerability, so going to be a little bit more susceptible to subsequent attack, although we do have that Blight protection. Okay, so now let's see what our options are here. We've got Gnulsa, our Blight Doctor. Let's see, what kind of range do they have? We obviously don't want our units being attacked with the Butcher there, especially our mounted units, so let's just light up the Untouchables for a little bit of damage there. And then again, we want to avoid... Let's just see what kind of damage can we do. I think we'll probably do this. A little bit more there. And then our Big Beetle, we obviously have to watch out for the Skewer and the Pikeman there. That's not something we really want our units getting exposed to. So the rest of our units, we will just kind of do this. Okay, they ran right up to do a poison spit. That's kind of interesting. So let's kill them off with our skewer. Very nice. So now we've got pikeman units that are going to have to be dealt with here. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge since we really don't want them getting to our mounted heroes here. That's going to be quite problematic. Do have a sphere of protection we could actually throw on a unit, which wouldn't be so bad. You know, we could throw that on the big beetle, although that polearm's going to demolish them. Maybe on the half-breed here. You know what? That's maybe not the worst idea in the world. So, I mean, again, I got to be careful with using mana this early, but there are some mana crystals still hanging around. So I think what we'll do is we will throw Sphere of Protection on our half-breed. And then what we're going to do is with our Blight Doctor, I think we're going to throw a Weaken on the Butcher, like that. Park our Big Beetle right there as protection. Our half-breed, just trying to decide here how best to do this. So I think what we'll do is we'll go like this, do a bit of that, and then we will actually move in like this and attack the Butcher to try to use up a bit of the Butcher's movement there. Now I suspect that the skewers are going to attack my... Yeah, and there it is. Okay, no problem at all there. And then we can basically almost kill the Butcher here. And then get the finish with our skewer like this. Excellent. Nice level up for the skewer. Now, Gnulsa can move over like this. Okay, now let's do a little bit of math here. So, minimum we're going to be doing 10. Maximum we're going to be doing 16. That's actually a bit better than the standard dart shot. So we'll do the acid. Even with the blight protection, it's still better. So we'll do that. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So that battle actually went quite well. Unfortunately, our big beetle did take a bit of damage, but we can handle it. Oh, Knights and a Dread Monkey. That's actually quite good for us. So we will take that as a reward. Gain the extra gold. Very nice. Now, Summon Grimbeak Crows is ready. So let's do that perhaps like this. And then we can send it immediately right over the water and go and contact this draconian city. Again, we want to start that diplomatic process as soon as possible, so I'm going to do that. Now, our tiger over here and our dread monkey can perhaps do a little bit of scouting additionally for us here. So, now there's a spawning structure that's going to need to be dealt with. Don't want scoundrels running around and harassing our base. Okay, and there it is, defended by 3 scoundrels. So, we're going to have to leave that hero behind. We can throw the Dread Monkey in the stack, though, and I think what we'll do is we'll engage this battle here right away. Okay, so we're up against some additional goblin units. Okay, looks like we've got 2 marauders and a butcher. So, we just have to watch out for the butcher, really, is the biggest issue. Throw some poop on the butcher. And I think what we'll do is we'll move our Blight Doctor up. Again, we want to make sure we're not in range of the marauder, but we want to at least do a bit of damage there. Big beetle can maybe hang out kind of like this. Actually, you know what? I don't necessarily want my big beetle right there. Now that I think about it, it'd be better to have them able to charge in if necessary. Okay, and my skewer, I think, can step over like this, perhaps. And the half-breed can back up the skewer. Gnulsa, on the other hand, can perhaps do a little bit of work here on the Marauder. Now let's see what... Yeah, there we go. Let's do a bit of work there. Nice, okay. So let's see what they decide to do here. Okay, going after my... Oof. Big damage there. I think what we'll do is we'll take our half-breed around behind here, kill the Marauder. Excellent. And that's going to allow us to then hopefully do some work on this Butcher. Ooh, not a great situation, actually. We sneak around behind. That wouldn't be so bad. My skewer's in big trouble, though. So if we step around like this, we can turn him around or charge in there. Ooh, big damage, actually. And then, yeah, we might not be able to get the kill, but we will be at least close. This is a huge risk, though, because Gnulsa is going to basically be extremely vulnerable to damage since... Oh, I don't like this. Oof. You know what we'll do is we will... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to attack from behind to get the turn. There we go. Okay, pretty good. And then we're going to step over like this. And I think, yeah, we can get a weaken. The only problem is I think that's going to turn them in a way that's not advantageous for me. But we can sprint, get in behind, do some big damage, and get the kill. Excellent. Okay. So that's what I was hoping for, is that the weaken would open them up to more blight damage coming from my Dread Monkey. And that's exactly what happened. And then my Big Beetle can move in and attack the Marauder. Excellent. Okay. Unfortunately, my Big Beetle did take some damage there, but we got through that battle without losing anybody. A little bit of a level up here for our half-breed and for our Dread Monkey. And some extra gold, which is always good. Now, as for the situation when it comes to scouting here, I think I will send the Tiger down just to kind of see what we can see. It looks like there's an ancient ruin down there. Now, important question. Do I want to continue heading this way, or do I want to head down? I think I want to get rid of this spawning structure before it's able to really cause me any issues. So I think that's going to be my priority, is heading down that way. Like this. Yeah. And the hero can follow down as well. I think we'll try and have that hero lead a separate stack, which we can build using the Warg Rider and maybe the Tiger or something like that. And then if we summon another Grimbeak Crow, that might also be a decent idea. We'll have to try and grab these mana crystals, though, because we are low on mana, so... Alright, we will end our turn there. Let's take a peek here. So it looks like Larissa is clearing structures, so cleared out a trading post, cleared out a gold mine. Now about to work on this particular structure, it looks like. Okay, so Larissa acquired a Archdruid hero, who is a heretic, an unholy champion, has a decent amount of health there, can inflict dazzled. Interesting hero there. I was hoping I would find a way underground here on my little island that I find myself on, but... Okay. New day. So, one thing we might want to do is go back actually and grab these mana crystals. Perhaps with the Tiger we go kind of this way a little bit. Yeah, I think that would be advisable. Okay, so that's the water there. Good to know. Then over this way, we've just got kind of more structures. Okay, and there's looks like a city of some kind. So next turn, we can use the Tiger to contact them, basically. Now, do we want to engage the scoundrels here? this is a little bit tricky because we actually are kind of in rough shape, but we can bring the hero down to assist us, which I think is going to be a wise choice. So let's do that. And I'm also going to quickly grab these extra mana crystals here. That way we have plenty of spell casting we can do. So I think we've scouted pretty much all of this portion of the island that we're on, which is great. So we kind of know what's down here. Again, good spot maybe for a city down in this direction. And let's see, our crows over here can make contact with the draconians. Okay, and it's hostile. That's actually kind of a shame. I was hoping it would not be hostile, as that would make things easier for me, but yeah, no such luck there. Well, we can use these guys to grab some extra gold, and we can keep looking for additional cities over here as well. Now, if we take Gnulsa, and we move down like this, we can engage the battle. Oops, okay. So, you know what, we'll go like this, and like that, and then what we'll do is we will engage it, bring our other hero along for the ride, and hopefully we'll be able to handle this one without losing anybody, because that's going to be the tough part here. Obviously, our big beetle's in rough shape, so we'll have to be very careful. I think we're probably going to have to use the spell here from Beneath's, which is Sphere of Protection. So I want to get Beneath's actually in there, kind of like this. Beneath's also has regrowth, which I could probably use to my advantage in this one as well. Okay, so wouldn't mind getting into the compound here if possible. So what I'll do, I'm going to keep my skewer back. I'm going to keep my big beetle back. Dread monkey can kind of step up a little bit. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, so they're going for my... Oof, my half-breeds are really getting shot there. All right, so we can break down the door with Neefs over here. So now Neefs has access, so we can probably use that a little bit to our advantage here. Let's see if we step up maybe a little bit closer. We have to be careful. We don't want to lose the Dread Monkey, which is definitely a distinct possibility. So we'll go like this. A little bit of damage there. Actually, we can do some half-decent damage with our Blight Doctor here, so let's do that. Alternatively, we could throw a Weaken on there. Oh, and I should have done that before I threw the filth. All right, we'll do that. Then we'll step up with our hero. And we will do some reasonable damage. We'll keep our big beetle, again, kind of in reserve here. We'll move over this way. Our skewer can kind of hang out. All right, now let's see what happens. Okay, nothing too devastating there, which is good. Okay, so we can actually turn the Orc Scoundrel around, which is great. And then we can blast them for some big damage here. Fantastic, and then we can get the kill with our hero. Very nice. We can use our big beetle here to get in, provide some backup. Our half-breed and our skewer are actually doing a great job of just sort of tanking the damage for us here. See what else happens. Okay, yeah, I sort of figured they'd go for my hero, which is just fine because of regrowth. Thank goodness. Oh yeah, big damage. Fantastic. And then big kill here. Perfect. We have Weaken again, so let's throw it on this Goblin Scoundrel. Since we can. The monkeys haven't quite produced enough poop to throw it again yet, but they're working on it. Oh yeah, big damage there. Actually, you know what? Had I stepped up and not had the range penalty, I might have actually been able to get the kill there. That was a bit of an oopsie. You know what? We'll step over like this. Okay. Ouch. Kind of nasty damage there. That wasn't super fun. So Gnulsa has already leveled up this battle. I'm just looking to see. Now, what about Beneath's here? Beneath's not so much. Let's see if we can just get some more experience with Gnulsa, I think. There we go. Again, I want to get Gnulsa leveled up. It'd be great to get Charm, which is the rogue's mind control ability, to try to use that and recruit some additional units. A human halberdier and a frostling ice pick. I will take that reward, I think. And the ice pick can be equipped by Gnulsa. Not the greatest melee weapon ever, but it's not terrible. Inflict chilling and shatter strike. Or I should say weapon item, not melee. Just a weapon item. If we want to upgrade Gnulsa here, let's see. What are some of our options? So, we have Infiltration Squad. All units gain wall climbing. Dirty Half Dozen. All units in the hero's army gain Devout Slayer, causing them to deal +3 against Devout units. This would be great if you're clearing some of those shrines that have, like, some of the Devout units, like the Crusaders and stuff like that. Yeah, nothing else I'm really that keen on. I think that's what we'll do, is we'll go with Dirty Half Dozen for now. Okay. This little guy can continue to explore. Maybe we should go north, but we're already kind of committed to going over this way, so... Oh, here we go. Okay, fantastic. Let's make contact. Halflings, alright. Let's negotiate with them. They would like to open borders and have a peace treaty. I will happily accept that. Let me know when you're ready to talk. So we're going to need a little bit of... we're going to need some income to be able to bring these different places into the fold as vassals. We're just going to need to make sure we have enough money to do that. Or enough gold, I should say. Now, meanwhile, this particular Warg Rider, who's already kind of done his job scouting... Again, we want to make sure we have a unit back on the Throne City. That's also important. But I think what we'll do is we'll send the Warg back, and then maybe he can go explore a bit north. And then our main army here, probably not quite strong enough for the Ancient Ruins yet. Thankfully, again, the spawning structure is dealt with, so that's one less thing to worry about. Now, I'm tempted to kind of circle back around this way and clear out these structures and the production resources rather than continuing to press this direction. So I think that's actually kind of what I'm going to do. So we're going to send this unit over this way. And of course, Gnulsa can join them. Our Halberdier, you know what, could stick with the hero perhaps, but might also be best to just send this unit back kind of up this way. And I think that's what we'll do. All right, we'll end our turn there. So that was a decently productive turn, actually. Okay, Larissa's turn now. We'll go spy on Larissa a little bit here. I guess it's not really spying because Larissa is my teammate. Looks like a... Oh, yeah, summoned a wisp there. So they... Unfortunately, Larissa looks like some of her units were killed off in some of these battles. Not all that surprising, really. I suppose one thing, too, since my AI teammate may encounter some independent cities and dwellings and whatnot, that might actually benefit me if I'm able to initiate diplomatic relations with them more quickly due to things like this Cortesian Ambassadors and the benefit I get of being a Keeper of the Peace. So I may be able to spin it to my advantage, perhaps, but we'll have to kind of see. I'm really not sure how this one is going to play out, and I think it's going to add, like I said, a unique angle to kind of this particular series. Okay, so we can summon our crows. We just have to remember that we're going to probably be now at a mana deficit. So we're going to have to address that reasonably soon. Umboku is now a village, which is great. This little guy, unfortunately, we can't go into the water yet. So that might be something we actually need to research quite soon rather than waiting on that. We're still working on the Builder's Hall. One more turn for that. Okay, let's move our tiger over and make contact. There we go. Okay, so it's a... Nice. They want to open borders and peace treaty? Absolutely. And then let me know when you're ready to talk. Okay, so we've got some halflings here that we can, again, buddy up with, which is great. And we'll head up this way. It would actually be fantastic to have some Brew Brothers for the healing that they provide. So I'm not at all upset about halflings. Okay, and there's another spawning structure. This one is a Necromantic Circle. So we're going to have to make sure we deal with that. It would be great eventually to clear out this watchtower and get the vision upgrade that we get from that. That would be fantastic. But let's focus on our main stack here and what we can do regarding some of these battles. So we can move our... So unfortunately our hero is not going to be able to make it in for these battles. Again, we are kind of in rough shape, so we will have to be careful with some of these. Again, we can summon another crow. Question is, where do we want to send the crow? We'll use this one to grab this gold here. And then perhaps kind of head over this way. Just get an eye on what we can sort of see. Okay, so this is a little dead end. Although, we have a cave entrance. Okay, that's excellent. So, let's go underground. I'd really like to encounter some additional goblins or something like that. That would be fantastic. So I had mentioned at the very beginning of this episode that when I was talking about the game setup, that it had been suggested to me to try out islands. And one of the reasons for that is because I was hoping, and what it was from John Calabro that had suggested it, is that it would kind of put an increased emphasis on the underground in this particular series. And we're going to actually see that, I think, because we've got islands up here, so it's a lot more difficult to get around. The underground is going to become, I think, more important for me. And I'm gonna ignore these haste berries as I'm moving, just because I might need them later with a different unit. And I don't want them to be... I don't want them to not be there. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So because the underground provides kind of a way to get around that ignores the water, it might actually end up being more important for this series, and I think that's going to be kind of fun. So I was actually going to set it up that I was going to start underground, but I forgot to do that, and of course I left it as default, which goblins sometimes spawn underground and sometimes not. So I'm not upset about being above ground by any means, and I'm glad now that I have access to it through that cave entrance. I'm just trying to decide, do I want to do this battle? I think we can handle it. I just really don't want to lose any of my units. That's the big thing. Okay, so these predators are just kind of a standard melee unit. I don't think there's anything too special about them. They are bloodthirsty, so if any of my units are bleeding, that will be kind of scary. They have an advantage against pikemen and shielded units, so I have to watch out for that, of course. But other than that, they're fairly standard, so my big beetle can devastate them here with some big damage. So you know what? Let's do this and this. Perfect. Okay. Now we've got this one over here. Of course, we want to put some work in on them, that's for certain. Boy, and they're because they're Tigran, they have quite a lot of mobility, so I have to always consider that aspect. Okay, we'll throw this and actually do quite a lot of damage with it, which is great. And then, okay, we've got a frost weakness there. Ooh, this is better, though. Minimum of 8, maximum of 12. Minimum of 6, maximum of 8. So, yeah, this is better. So let's do this. Very nice. Okay, that was actually fantastic. And we can just get the kill outright with our skewer. Perfect. Yeah, that couldn't have worked out much better. Alright, so now it's just the chariot here. Ouch. Big ouch. But we survived. And I think we're going to be able to get the kill without a ton of difficulty. So what we'll do is we will weaken the chariot. And then we're going to move our dread monkey so that we're not hitting them twice, because we don't want to risk taking damage with the dread monkey due to the low health here. So what we'll do instead is we'll do a flank attack. Nice. Turn him around. Then we will take our... Actually, we might just use our hero for the extra experience we can try to get here. Yeah, so we'll do that. Oh, big damage from that. Okay. That's what we'll do. Perfect. Okay, that's excellent. That worked out very, very well. We were able to clear out the defenders there, and of course we got a nice level up for our big beetle and some extra experience and level ups here for our skewer and our blight doctor. So we are making progress, getting some extra gold. We're going to need this when we start trying to vassalize all these cities, so I am not at all unhappy about acquiring all this extra gold. Okay. This little guy, I think we're going to just turn him around and basically head him back to kind of towards the throne here. We'll just have to watch out. We don't want to grab those haste berries by accident. And then our pikemen. I suppose we could go up and maybe do a touch of exploring. Do a little bit right here. Okay, so we'll get to this road eventually. And again, there's the halfling city that we're hopefully going to make friends with. And then what we'll do with this guy, we'll turn him around, head back this way. I think we actually almost have enough units already to basically start a new stack between our tiger, which we may just keep scouting with. But we also might use a Grimbeak Crow here, or we could use the Grimbeak Crow in the stack with our hero, which might not be so bad because as a sorcerer, eventually, the sorcerer gains an ability to heal summoned units. So that wouldn't be so bad. I'm just trying to decide now, where would be best to summon another Grimbeak Crow? I'm thinking probably kind of north. Maybe I can free up the responsibility from that unit a bit. So let's do this. And then we can kind of just head north along the water here and see what we see. Okay, so there's another island. Ooh, it looks like a city or something. We want to go make contact there as soon as we can. And I think we'll hold off on any additional summoning just simply because we're low on mana and we're going to be losing it per turn. So we don't want to risk running into a mana deficit. So that's going to do it for our turn. We'll end it there. And now we should have... Yeah, our Builder's Hall should finish, and that's going to free up production. Maybe we even go with a shrine just so that we have the mana income. Oh, and you know what? I didn't even notice this, but we have a great farm, which is even... which is adding even more population growth to our main city. So, you know, that's not so bad either because, again, we have the increased growth rate of being Goblin in addition to some extra growth here. So, you know, that's pretty good. And that's going to mean that this city's going to get large very quickly, which I'm very happy about. Now, we're going to try for these production resources for sure. Again, we have to really watch our health as we're running kind of low here, especially with our... Thankfully, though, we regained quite a bit. Okay, Cortesian Ambassadors is now researched, which is great because this means that we're going to receive a permanent relation bonus with independent cities, and they're going to become more friendly to us, which is great for us. Now, we also have the Builder's Hall finished, so let's see what we might want to do next. Again, we have the option here of maybe doing a shrine. I also wouldn't mind a siege workshop. You know, I think getting that extra production would probably be best. Storehouse could also be all right, as that would increase our growth rate. Just looking here. So we're probably not going to be gaining any mana from any of these battles in the immediate term here. However, maybe some of our scouting units can find some while they're out flying around or scouting around. Let's just take a look. Where are we in... Might be nice to see if there's anything kind of under my area here. Okay, and it looks like we've got some production resources there as well. Fly up this way a little bit. Okay, we've got a spawning structure there, which is going to need to be dealt with. And we do have some mana crystals, but I don't really want to go over by the spawning structure because that's always a big risk. Especially here, we're right at turn 5, where we're going to start to see the first wave of units produced out of those things. So I do have to be kind of careful. So I think with this guy, we're going to just head back. Kind of group up at our throne a little bit. Our tiger, on the other hand, can kind of do a bit of a... Yeah, there we go. And you know what? We will grab the haste berries with the tiger. And then we'll head back like that. And again, we're just going to kind of assemble a squad here for Beneaths to be able to lead eventually. So now, I think we'll go for the production resources here first, I think. And then Beneaths can join in on these battles as well, which is great. Just try and get some extra experience there with both our heroes. Okay, so of course the priest can heal, which we're going to have to watch out for. Blight Doctor perhaps can weaken the swordsman. We obviously want to get rid of the archer as well, because that range damage isn't going to be fun for us. The Dread Monkey can probably just kind of run back, I think. Half-Breed can kind of take a step up front, since it does have a shield. And then let's blast for just a little bit of damage here, just to kind of harass them a touch. We don't want to leave our... Yeah, our Blight Doctor, I think, will be okay. But we'll put our Big Beetle there just to kind of provide a little bit of protection. And then I think we'll just kind of camp out like this. I want to kind of entice them in closer to me so I can then attack them more easily. Yeah, there we go. Okay, fantastic. And our hero can basically just fight these swordsmen here without too much difficulty, I think. All right. Now we have to deal with the priest and with the archer. So I think step 1... Let's move up and attack the priest. This is where Devout Slayer is actually going to come into play a little bit, which is great. Oh yeah, there we go. Might be able to get the kill even with our half-breed. You know what? If we step up with our Dread Monkey and do this, now we're pretty much guaranteed the kill. Perfect. And then we can step on up with our Big Beetle, get a nice flanking charge, and almost get a one-shot there. Very good. And then we can get the finish with our hero. Or our leader, I should say. And then, yeah, I think we're going to be just fine. I was going to leave Beneaths in defense here, but I think I'd rather actually use up their attacks, because I don't want them flanking my Blight Doctor, so we'll do that. Ooh, and I realize that actually puts Beneaths in not a great position here. As long as they don't get a critical. Oh, okay. That was actually a bigger risk than I realized when I first did it, so I'm glad that that didn't bite me in the butt. It almost did, though. Holy. Okay, let's throw another weaken on. I don't know if that gets me any additional experience. I think it might. But sometimes when the first time you use one of these kind of abilities, you get experience, and then the second time you don't. I could have checked to see, but I kind of forgot to there. Let's see, we can get the kill. Nice. Okay, I was hoping for a level up. Not quite. We were close. And so that takes care of that. Now, oh, a Siege Workshop. Perfect. Yep, let's do that. That's a more expensive upgrade than the barracks, so we'll do the Siege Workshop. Plus, it provides me the extra production capability there of 10 extra production. So we will take the Siege Workshop. That's excellent. That's exactly what I wanted. And now we can... unfortunately, it's still going to take 2 turns to do a Shrine, which is a little bit frustrating. So I was going to say, if we could get above 75, then it would be only only 1 turn. But... yeah, I mean, again, we could also start working on the Masters Guild already, which wouldn't be so terrible. Then we would have the production kind of track done, and we would just then be able to work on all the other upgrades. This is going to use up a lot of gold, however, if we do this. But you know what? I think, again, I think that's actually going to be really good, as then our production capabilities are going to be humongous. So I think we'll do that. Again, I'm not 100% sure about that decision, but I think it's decent. All right, so now we will move over, and there's a little bit more we want to do. So we want to fight these orcs, but we have to watch out because there's that shock trooper, so we might wait a turn before we actually do that one. I think we'll move over and attack. We want to play this one a little bit more cautiously. So we don't want to, you know, we're making good progress here. We don't want to lose anybody if we can avoid it. So now let's engage these goblins here for some extra... we'll use the big beetle, actually. Oh, and they're going to run away. Okay, we will let them run. Very good. And now we have to decide if we want to attack these orcs that are guarding the quarry. I think we will, but just maybe not right this turn. So let's move down like this, and then we will wait there, heal up a little bit more, and then we'll attack next turn. Now, we'll finish up our scouting here for this turn. So we will send our crow up to contact. Looks like a human. I think it's a human. Yeah, there it is. So we will negotiate. Ooh, and we'd have to spend some money if we want to make a peace treaty with them. Well, they're a little bit evil, so they're not going to like us quite so much. You know what? I'm going to do it just because I want... you got to kind of spend money in this case to really try to speed up the process. So now they can become a vassal very shortly. So I'm going to try and drum up some extra funds here so that I can basically start bringing in as many of these different cities as possible into my empire here. All right. Now the question, where do I want to send this crow next? Do I want to go kind of scout out over here, or do I want to head north up in this direction? It's kind of a tough call. Now, I think I've already done my underground stuff. Let me double check that. Yeah, I have. Okay. So we can jump to our other units. We do still have the warg here who can maybe check out just what's on the tip of our little island here. Looks like we've got ourselves a lost city. And okay, so there's kind of nothing here, really. So now we might as well turn around. So we'll group all these units back up. We're going to probably actually have to research in the near future here, as I said, basic seafaring, just so we get it out of the way. Let's see, Corrupted Killer Scoundrels gain XP 50% faster and evolve into lesser Shadow Stalkers upon reaching gold medal. Now that is pretty cool. I do quite like that. Trail running. Irregular units receive +8 movement. Units with flying and lesser flying are not affected. And then, of course, we have scout training, which increases vision range. You know what? I think we will do basic seafaring because that is rapidly becoming an issue for me where we need the ability to embark. So we have our Marauder here again, who we want to bring back down. Just avoid the haste berries there so we're not stealing them when we might otherwise need them. And then I think our crow here will kind of move over this way. Okay, we've got ourselves a Forbidden Sanctum over there as well. Alright, so that's going to do it for our turn. Yeah, and I don't think we're going to start summoning until we have extra mana. So again, maybe I should do, instead of the Masters Guild, maybe I should do the Shrine. I have to kind of think about that one, but I'm going to zoom out and take a look at our fledgling empire. So here's Umboku, which is our throne. And again, we've made contact with a number of neighboring cities. And we have Kenton, which is the throne city of Larissa, who is our teammate. So all in all, I think that's a pretty good start for me. I'm really excited for this series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a kind of unique setup. So we're going to save it here. We're going to call this one, let's see, so we are a Goblin Rogue, and we're going to call this one a 1.5 versus 6. And I'm calling it 1.5 because my teammate, being on a lower difficulty, I don't know if that's going to actually really help me much, or if that's going to end up being more of a hindrance. So I wouldn't fully say it's 2 versus 6. I'm going to say it's 1.5 versus 6. My own little way of being kind of cheeky. But we'll call this one Goblin Rogue episode 1 here. So we'll save it. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.